As usual, let's jump straight into the news. A storm hit Florida from the Caribbean. Hurricane Debby has attacked the southwestern United States. Before making landfall, the tropical storm strengthened into a Category 1 hurricane. Debby hit the Millionaires and Golden Sands coast at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. The first to bear the brunt were the residents of the Big Bend area in northern Florida. The cyclone arrived with heavy rains and thunderstorms. The coastline is being battered by large waves, and the wind is so strong that palm trees are bending. Due to the heavy rainfall and storm surges, flooding has begun in the city of Fort Myers in the southwestern part of the state, although residents were initially warned about the approaching storm, and rescuers and volunteers tried to mitigate the impact by lining the streets with sandbags. It was not entirely effective, as seen in these shots. Notably, Hurricane Debby is moving relatively slowly compared to last year's Idalia. This is the main risk. The storm system is dropping an excessive amount of rain on a single area. Debby's impact won't be limited to Florida. Moving at a snail's pace, the storm will continue its journey northeast. By midweek, Debby is expected to reach parts of Georgia and South Carolina, where at least 50 millimeters of rain is expected to fall in a relatively short period. American meteorologists believe this could potentially lead to widespread flooding. Warnings of life-threatening flooding levels have already been issued in the affected regions. Now, an unexpected volcanic eruption in Europe. Mount Etna in Sicily has erupted again, and this time the eruption of the fire mountain was quite epic. A column of smoke and volcanic ash rose 10 kilometers high and disrupted operations at Catania Airport. Ash is settling in several towns southeast of the eruption's epicenter. The National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology in Catania has declared a red alert level. The mayor of the Sicilian city has ordered a reduction in vehicle speeds on the roads to avoid accidents. After a series of powerful eruptions, a new peak unexpectedly appeared on the volcano. It stands at an elevation of 3,369 meters. Currently, all residents of nearby areas are being urgently evacuated. There is no information yet on casualties or fatalities. Authorities fear that the eruption may intensify, and the entire island could face difficulties. Etna is the highest active volcano in Europe. It often appears in the myths of ancient Greece and Rome. According to ancient beliefs, this was the forge of the god of fire and metalworking, Hephaestus. Etna has around 400 craters. Eruptions on its slopes are often explosive and spectacular, but generally do not threaten populated areas. However, lava flows from the side craters can reach villages.
En Catania no tenemos nieve. Tenemos ceniza.
$4 billion. That's how much families in Hawaii will receive after the Monstrous Fire last year. It started on August 9, 2023, and claimed the lives of over 100 people. The fire effectively burned down the city of Lahaina. About 10,000 Hawaiians managed to escape from the devastated area. People fled as best as they could, abandoning their belongings and jumping into the water. Residents have blamed the local utility company, Hawaiian Electric, for failing to disconnect the power in anticipation of the approaching storm and rain. Power lines ultimately fell to the ground and ignited instantly. Additionally, Hawaii has one of the largest emergency alert systems in the world, but the siren remained silent when the disaster began. The court is expected to approve the compensation amount soon. If the decision is favorable, payments will begin in the middle of next year. Meanwhile, in France, there may be a cancellation of the open water swimming events at the Olympics due to river pollution caused by heavy rain in Paris. However, the triathlon events for both men and women were held on July 31st. Some participants fell ill during or immediately after the swim, and many complained about the poor water quality. Belgian athlete Claire Michel was even hospitalized with E. coli after swimming in the river. As a result, the entire Belgian team will miss the mixed relay at the Paris Olympics if it takes place. The Seine has been closed for swimming since 1923. However, in the run-up to the Olympics, French authorities claimed they had cleaned the river, spending around 1.5 billion euros on the project. Water samples taken from the river at the end of June indicated that it was safe for swimming. Parisians, however, have labeled the government's plans as insane. Saudi Arabia has been hit by what local press describes as doomsday rains. The southwestern part of the country, particularly the Jizan region, and the city of Jizan, was the hardest hit. Heavy rain fell continuously for 9 hours, causing severe flooding. Roads and streets were submerged, and water seeped into residential homes and commercial shops. Even more concerning, the intense natural assault overwhelmed engineering structures. Roads were completely washed away, and several bridges collapsed. For example, this is what part of the Kabri Suradis road leading to the Abu Arish district looks like now. As a result of the bridge collapse, at least 2 people have been reported dead, and at least 10 more are missing. Rescuers fear that vehicles and people might have been swept away for miles after the bridge fell. Recovery efforts are currently underway in the Jizan region. Meanwhile, people are questioning the cause of these extreme weather contrasts. Scientists attribute it to climate change. There has been significant overheating of the land and the waters surrounding the Arabian Peninsula. As a result, tropical winds carrying moisture-saturated clouds have a more substantial impact on Arabia, leading to uneven rainfall distribution. And now let's move to Western Europe. The residents of the small village of El Toro in the Castellón municipality in Spain experienced a terrifying ordeal in broad daylight. A massive tornado passed near the settlement, causing quite a stir among locals. Was there a reason for concern? You can judge for yourselves by the footage on your screens. People say they have never seen anything like it before. Meteorologists note that a tornado of this size has not been recorded in this region. According to experts, it could be classified as a tornado between categories F1 and F3. As for the aftermath, there is no preliminary report of destruction or casualties. In Italy, firefighters are trying to save Rome, or rather one of its districts. For the 3rd consecutive day, a hill in Monte Mario has been burning, and the rescuers have not yet managed to contain the fire. The footage shows firefighters surveying the blazing area from a helicopter. They have managed to push the flames away from residential buildings, but several cars have burned, and there are damaged structures. Currently, the fire is spreading between the districts of Castrenvovo and Marlupa. The authorities in Rome have requested assistance from other regions, and last night, firefighters from Liguria and Lombardy arrived to help. And now, footage from South America. On Saturday, we reported on the devastating hurricane that literally destroyed several settlements in Chile. Strong winds ripped roofs off houses, toppled tower cranes, and even demolished churches. Here are the aftermath of the storm's passage in the Chilean capital, Santiago. The footage shows a damaged building and burned cars. The fires ignited after trees uprooted by the hurricane fell on power lines. The deadly storm wreaked havoc across the country. While Santiago was spared casualties, it is known that at least 2 people died, and another 2 were injured in other regions. In the Chilean capital, the wind toppled dozens of trees and damaged residential and administrative buildings, with wind speeds reaching around 125 kilometers per hour. Authorities closed over 8,000 schools nationwide, and flights at Santiago's airport had to be suspended. Share your thoughts in the comments. Peace and well-being to you and your families. And of course, take care of yourselves and our shared home, our planet.